Govinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate girim yatkrupatam ham vande Shri Gurum Dinataram Paramanam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Jai Gandha Maharaj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. So we are reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse number 3. Ashraddha dhana purusha dharmasya parantapa aprapya mam nivattante mrityu samsara vattamane. Ashraddha dhana purusha dharmasya sya parantapa aprapya mam nivattante mrityu samsara vattamane. Translation. Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attend me. O conqueror of enemies, therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Welcome you all for this wonderful session. Dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnavas. Let us actually, but if this process is so easy to follow, then no one would remain in the material world. One should understand that. How can our faith grow from initial interest to full, conviction? Faith is a vital for the discharge of devotional service. As mentioned in this verse, Krishna says, those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies. Right? Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. And Srila Prabhupada writes in this purport that without faith, we cannot attain Krishna. Faith, he says, is developed by associating with the devotees. Without such association, we cannot become fully faithful. So that's what, therefore, he has mentioned, three categories of degrees of faith. The lowest types gives only enough faith to bring us into the association of devotees, but is not based strongly enough on scriptural knowledge or belief in the truth of scriptures to keep us there. The second type is firmer, and although we may not be conversant in scriptures, we believe in the truth taught there. And a devotee with the highest type of faith has firm conviction as well as firm knowledge of the scriptures. So when we, as aspiring devotees, consider the question of faith, we often assume we already possess it. After all, we are faithfully prosecuting our sadhana, our regulated scriptural practices. But faith is a live issue. It is not something that one achieved remains vibrant without further thought. That is especially true for those of us who grew up in an environment of skepticism and were taught to challenge faith. So therefore, we should understand both what faith is and what our own faith is. Two things. We have to understand that what faith is, what is our own faith is. Besides the three types of faith listed, which we discussed from the Prabhupada's purport, the scriptures defines the faith as initial, one should have a Shraddha and fixed like Nishtha. Shraddha, according to Prabhupada, is shown by a person who is willing to wander into the temple and who is able to feel good about what is going on there. It sounds almost like a kind of favorable curiosity. That initial faith is enough to bring us into the association of devotees. Nishta means conviction that cannot be changed. Prabhupada writes, a devotee with such faith feels that if he can attain Krishna consciousness, all his desires will be fulfilled. There is nothing more important than the development of Krishna consciousness. A devotee with Nishta may not have attained the goal, but is fixed on its importance and values. Like, dictionary defines faith is like unquestioning belief in God, unquestioning belief that does not require like proof of proof or evidence. Simple. Faith is the truth in God, in his actions and promises. This is the kind of faith required for a devotee. Although we can provide scriptural evidence to support our Krishna consciousness, like conclusions about the nature of the soul, the nature of the God, and transmigration, and so on, we have little empirical proof that any of it is true somehow or other. However, we have become willing to accept the authority of Guru and scriptures on faith, and we have modeled our lives principles around their teachings. That's why, um, people often sees that when they have difficulties, they think that, oh, I do not wish to accept a material body. So for such a body is the source of all distress, lamentation, and fear everywhere in this universe, just as it is for a fish in the water, which lives always in anxiety because of fear of death. The material body, whether in the higher or lower planetary system, is destined to die. One should understand that. So, in the lower planetary system or lower species of life, one may die soon. And in the higher planets or higher species, may live for a long run. But death is inevitable. As long as you have taken birth in this material world, so you had to leave this material world until you finish your karma. Other karma Siddhanta people says, or else until unless you become a pure devotee and practice devotional service, 9 kinds of process of devotional service, engage yourself, elevate, bring up into a stage like Nishta, then all this process, finally Rati comes. Then, so if a person is situated in that situation, so then he can overcome this material body. Until unless, then he has to the opportunity has to come that one has to perform a tapasya to come to that stage. One should know that, excuse me, one should know that there is a word called tapasya. After knowing that tapasya word, you should know what it means, and you should know how it works, how to be done. You need a proper guide to give you knowledge about tapasya. So either you have to surrender to Shastra or you have to surrender to a living Guru. Until unless you surrender either this process or that process, you cannot have any knowledge about the either. This is the aim of human civilization, to stop the repetition of birth and death, which is called Mrityu Samsara Vartamani. This can be done only when one is in Krishna conscious. or has achieved that service of the lotus feet of the Lord. Otherwise, one must rot in this material world and accept a material body subject to birth, death, old age, and disease. That's what we discuss like now. And the best example is water is a very nice place for a fish, but the fish is never free from anxiety about death. Since big fish are always eager to eat a small fish, Palguni, like Palguni Tatra Mahatam. All living entities are eaten by bigger living entities. This is the way of material nature. So, those who are devoid of hands are prey for those who have hands. Those devoid of legs are prey for the four-legged. The weak are the subsistence of the strong. And the general rule holds that one living being is food for another. You see, there's like, first canto mentions in 13th chapter. I forgot verse. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has created the material world in such a way that one living entity is food for another. Thus, there is a struggle for existence. But although we speak of survival of the fittest, no one can escape death without becoming a devotee of the Lord. Harim vina naiva shitim taranti. One cannot escape the cycle of birth and death without becoming a devotee. This is also confirmed in this verse, right? 9.3. Aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartamani. One who does not attain shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna must certainly wander up and down within the cycle of birth and death. That's what, so asaddha dhana, those who are faithless means anyone can understand, those who do not believe in the words of God. They are faithless, just like a child. By nature, so he has to believe his parents. And when he goes to school, he has to believe his superiors and teachers. So, but if he does not believe in the words of the superior, then where is the possibility of learning, the education? He cannot learn. There is a possibility. This is the first qualification. If you go to teacher to learn whatever is prescribed in the particular subject, even from the beginning ABCD, the teacher says, my dear child, you begin from the left side. You have to write. I used to go to a school. There, I have a friends, two different, 3, 4 are there. 2 are trained in a madrasa, and other 2 are Brahmana boys, but they were learning Urdu, and one is lefty, one is right hand only. But they both write from this side. Yes. I used to remember whenever I see left hand, but I have one more friend here in devotional, in ashrama. He's a left hand, he writes from here, but holding, it's a so complicated thing. They write from here, and we write from here, left side. In this way, then if the student says, why shall I begin in this way? I shall begin in this way. Like he says, right? Then he is faithless. What? He cannot make any progress. It is not possible. We can say, hey, see, they studied and all, they have a faith. So that the material progress, it is not a progress in life. It may end up material life any moment. Now the situation, I was I got a message that, so uh, I was in a traveling yesterday. I went to Kolkata, so I was not aware of it, what's happening actually. So I got a message that I have to send a message to all the people that they should not uh, simply post in the social media or circulate in your personal WhatsApp messages that whatever we see regarding that war regarding things should not spread in the social media because it creates some uncertainty. So I have to send a message, especially in Maharaj zones, South India, East India, and different parts. Okay. So I was not knowing that. Here, the point is that when a person is not aware what's going on, what to speak, and first of all, we should not involve in these kind of issues because those who are living in those area, they are having lot of kiosk in the life. Then if we spread uncertainty messages regarding these things, then it creates more uncertainty in their life. So until unless you educate them, you should not do, then they cannot stop that. They try to intend and implicate the social media messages to try to spread. So this comes through because there is no proper system. Okay. We don't have, like, first of all, we think that we are this body. Oh, this is happening. Oh, what will happen to us? Definitely, we care our devotees, both the area, either opposition or this side, both the side. But one should have faith. We cannot say, like, so some common civilians also died in that. Some So we cannot say in the bombing, when a people are bombing, oh, you should have faith on Krishna. Same time. So you have to be aware of it, what's happening in our surroundings. Then be aware your surroundings, and that is your own responsibility. How you can avoid this uncertainty. Same like here, a person who wants to really know about the Krishna, then that is his own responsibility. So he has to realize that what is meant for this life. Until unless he question himself, who I am, he cannot overcome these things. So if you go to teacher, you must be faithful. Otherwise, there is no need of going to a teacher. If you cannot believe in the words of somebody whom you are going to appoint as your teacher, so if you have no faith in his words, then what is the use of going us to teacher? There is no use. Don't waste your time and don't waste his time as well. Therefore, those who are going to learn to become a disciple or teacher, he must believe in the words of a teacher. Or if you are doubtful, you should not go to a such teacher. That is a first qualification. If you do not believe somebody, then you find out someone else upon whom you can put your faith. That is, yes, here is the right man who can teach me. Otherwise, there is no use of going to a teacher. That is the Vedic principle. The Vedic principle is like, we have to understand that everyone is in ignorance because the evolution is coming from the lower species of life. And when Western countries, that faith in Especially, okay, most of them are like, studied in very long years ago. Or at least I can say I'm not that much elder in age. In our school days, they taught us the Darwin theory. The Darwin theory of evolution is very prominent in Western countries. Same time, we have been educated in our schools the same theory. And like, whenever we hear, we used to laugh in childhood, but we don't know what exactly. Then we used to think, how the evolution, like, has come. Until unless you have taken this Bhagavad Gita as it is, we don't have idea actually, right? We don't have it. And they believe that man is coming from monkey. Then why still monkey is there only? All the monkeys can become human being. The people say, no, no, no. In order to become human being, the monkey should born. Like, so funny thing. Of course, the Vedic Shastra also says the birth of human being are from three categories, like sources. One is from the cow, the other one is from the lion or tiger, and the other from is the monkey. Like the monkey, what is there? You see that those who are coming in the Sattva Guna, the mode of goodness, their last birth is as cow. And those who are coming through the Rajaguna, are like their last birth is lion. And those who are coming through the Tamoguna, the last birth is monkey. Then we have explained like now, I mean, Bhagavad Gita also Prabhupada says many times the lower animals less than the human being. There are 8 million forms. That's what Prabhupada says. Jalajanavalakani Stavara Laksha Vimasati. You know, and it's from even Prabhupada mentioned many places while he gives like no talk. So this is the list of evolution like Darwin has taken, but he has explained in a different way, misguiding way. But anyway, the evolutionary theory, it is not a theory, it is a fact that it is acceptable by the Vedic scholar also. It is explained in the like Padma Purana says, right? Ashitam Chaturas Lakshmanasthanam Jiva Jitashu. That means his statement in Padma Purana says that Ashtam Chatusachaivan. That means 84 lakhs. They say in the Vedic language 4800,000, 8400,000. Anyway, the valuation is there. And in the lower species of life, there are 8 millions human forms of life, only 4 millions. 400,000. Yeah, out of which more than 300,000 forms of life are uncivilized men. They do not know what is the aim of life. You have to understand that who doesn't know the aim of life, they are all this falls under this category. The best form of human life is Prabhupada mentions Aryans. So there is a gradual process of evolution, and the human form of life is the greatest evolution. So now you can go elevate yourself to further higher status of living condition. This is called Devata or demigods. Urdvam gachanti sattvastaha. If you develop the quality of goodness, then you are promoted to the higher planetary system. Urdvam gachanti satvasta madhye tishtati rajasaha. If you do not develop further, if you remain whatever quality you have got just now, you remain within this world. And ado gachanti tamasaha. And if you do not develop goodness or remain in the same quality, but you degrade yourself, then again go to the cycle of birth in the kingdom, animal kingdom. And Prabhupada mentioned in like many places at the same time. So Yeah, 14th chapter Bhagavad Gita says, Urdhvam gachanti satvastaha madhye tishtanti rajasa jagnanya guna vrittista adho gachanti tamasaha. Jagnanya guna vrittista means abominable without any distinction. Whatever I like, I shall do. No, you cannot do that. You have to go, like, you have to understand the super consciousness. You must decide whether you want to stop this evolutionary process, cycle of birth and death, and go back to home, back to Godhead. Or if you want to continue again the cycle of birth and death, that is up to you. You decide. This is the human form of life. So that's what transcendentalists who are advanced in knowledge compare the body which is made by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like to a charioteer. Like, if you see a charioteer, even this we learn this in Bhagavad Gita also, right? The senses are like the horses, the mind, the master of the senses, is like the reins. The objects of the senses are the destinations. Intelligence is the chariot driver, and the consciousness which spreads throughout the body is the cause of bondage in this material world. That's what it says, right? Aho shariram rata indriyani hayan abhishun mana indriyesham vartamani matra ईशानं च सुतां सत्वं बृहत् बन्धुरं यशस्तं. So, for a bewildered person in the materialistic way of life, the body, the mind, and the senses which are engaged in the sense gratification are the cause of bondage to repeat birth, death, old age, and disease. But for one who is advanced in spiritual knowledge, the same body, senses, and mind are the cause of liberation. So that we have to understand. The soul is the occupant of the charioteer of the body, of which the driver of the intelligence, the mind, is the determination to reach the destination. The senses are the horses, and the sense objects are also included in that activity. Thus, one can reach the destination like Vishnu, who is Paramam Padam, the supreme goal of life. In conditioned life, the consciousness in the body is the cause of bondage, but the same consciousness, when transformed into Krishna consciousness, becomes the cause for one's returning home back to Godhead. That's what he says here, right? Ashtadha dhanas purusha dharmayasya parantapa aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartamani. Those who are not faithful on the path of devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of foes, but return to birth and death in this material world. So here Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, personally gives instruction on how one can return home back to Godhead. But if one does not care to listen to his instructions, the result will be that one will never go back to Godhead, but will continue life in this miserable condition of repeated birth and death in material existence. Mrityu samsara vartamani. Mrityu samsara vartamani. That we have to understand that. It says like, no, dharmasya means those who do not accept with firm faith. Ashraddha. Ashraddha dhana. Who doesn't have faith. So, like, Yeah. If someone may say that, aside from devotees who always seek shelter at the Lord's lotus feet, there are those who are not devotees, but who have accepted different processes for attaining salvation. What happens to them? What happens to them? In answer to that question, so that's what Lord Brahma and the other demigod said, "O lotus-eyed Lord, although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated. Their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of image, imagine superiority because they have no regard for your lotus feet." That's what. So those it like one is like no karmi, jnani, yogi, philanthropist, politician, or whatever. If one has no love for the lotus feet of the Lord, one falls down. That is the Vedic, like Vedic given by Lord Brahma. We have to understand. He was saying that actually, like no, when he was praying to Krishna, like Vimukta, Vimukta Manina. Okay. Um, there are persons who advocate accepting any process and who say that whatever process one accepts will lead to the same goal. But that is refuted in many places. That's what, like, where such persons are referred to as Vimukta Manina, means signifying, signify, signifying that although they think they have attained the highest perfection, in fact, they have not. In that present day, big politicians allow the world think that by scheming, they can occupy the highest political post, that of president or prime minister. But we actually see that even in the his life, such a big prime ministers, presidents, and other politicians, because of being non-devotees, like patanti adaha, means fall down, right? To become president or prime minister is not easy. One must work very hard. Aruhe kracharena. Even says like, no, it says, right? Shreyas tritim bhaktim udasyete vibho krishyanti kevala bodhalabdhaye. It's a Brahma prayers from 10th canto. Kleshor. So, therefore, any person who seriously desire real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. So, the qualification of the bona fide guru is that he has realized the conclusions of the scriptures by deliberation and is able to convince others of these conclusions. We also know that in nectar of instructions mentioned vacho vegam, krodho vegam, jihva vegam, how we can identify guru. At the same time, Bhagavad-gītā, tadviti pranipatena parapashena sevaya. Then again, Upanishad also says like a guru means who knows the Paramatma aspect and Brahman aspect and Bhagwan aspect, full in full. At the same time, he has the transcendental knowledge, which is transcendental knowledge means the knowledge about the Krishna, the ultimate knowledge. So the person, he is called a representative of Krishna. Such great personalities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, leaving aside all material consideration, should be understood to be a bona fide spiritual masters. So one day, if I have repeated this, please forgive me. One day, so like being a servant of my Guru, I've got the opportunity to understand how actually um, Guru, like, understands a disciple. So I was asking my Guru. So one Mataji was asking a question to him. So I have so many questions and so many doubts. So I'm not, who will guide me? She was asking him directly. Then he said, who is stopping you to ask me? I'm there to help you. Whatever doubts you have, please let me know. So then I can clear and clarify them. So even in my absence, you can practice those instructions. Okay. Then after that, that question finished and all, I was looking at him, looking at my Guru Maharaj. He asked, what? Why are you looking like that? I said, I have a doubt. I want to ask you. Then he said, yes. Then I asked him, so many people comes to you and ask you many questions. As questions, and they most of them ask, like 90% people ask, 95. Okay, please bless me. Like I want to be a successful in business. I want to do nice job, and my son want to get married. My daughter want to get married, or my children should get a good college for their education. All these things. Actually, when a person comes to you in front of you directly, what do you see in them? I asked him. Then, do you really see their material things, whatever they have done, like their karma, whatever, daily life, or only you see their advancement in spiritual life? Then he said, well, we know everything, but we don't focus on those material aspects. But we focus, I mean, especially he said, I focus on how much they're advancing in Krishna consciousness. So this power is given by Krishna to me, he said. Then again, he said, not only me, whoever is coming under the parampara, disciplic succession, say, proper bona fide spiritual master, whoever is there, all the spiritual masters have that power given by Krishna. They can understand their disciples' spiritual progress. Then I asked how it works. Again, he said, there is a Paramatma in you and me. That Paramatma transforms me. That what is his spiritual advancement. That done. That's one question. Have put lot of faith in Guru and Shastra. Really, I'm telling you. So that's what. And Sridhar Maharaj says, right, so Sridhar Swami, Prabhupada quotes often in Bhagavatam, Shabde, like the word Shabde refers to the Vedic literature, and Pare refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The bona fide spiritual master must be Nishnatham, deeply experienced in authorized Vedic literatures and in practical understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without scriptural knowledge and practical realization of the personality of Godhead, a so-called guru will be unable to dissipate the doubts of his disciples and therefore unable to execute the function of bringing the sincere student back home, back to Godhead. The symptom of realized understanding of the Vedas and Krishna is upasamshrayam. Like it says, the bona fide spiritual master is one who has retired from the glittering illusions of materialistic society, friendship, and love. Within the material world, one is certainly attracted to becoming a great intellectual, a powerful politician, the loving father of many beautiful and affectionate little children. Okay, a most honored welfare worker or a highly admired and successful businessman, but none of these material positions have a permanent basis, nor do they afford permanent happiness because they are all based on the primary misunderstanding by which one identifies himself with the material body. Aham. That's what Krishna says here. A bona fide spiritual master is one who is expert in all of those subject matters, not by his personal imagination or speculation, but by my nature understanding of the authorized Vedic literatures, which are the literary manifestation of the causeless mercy of God. That's what he says here. What is that? Ashraddhadhana Purusha Dharmayasyasya Parantapa Aprapyamam Nivattante Mrityu Samsara Vartamani. So one should understand that. Yesterday I was speaking about this in Telugu class. That Mahatmanastu Mam Partha Dhaivim Prakritim Ashrita Bhajanti Ananya Manaso Jnatva Bhutatim Adhyaya. Like those who are actually great souls have surrendered to the internal potency of the Lord and can similarly connect others to the internal pleasure-giving potency. That's what a Mahatma is described in the Bhagavad-gītā as follows. Vasudeva sarvam iti sa Mahatma sudurlabha. Excuse me. Says that he knows me to be the cause of all causes, and all that is such a great soul is very rare. It is like to such a spiritual master who has reached the mature understanding, the Vasudeva is everything, that one must surrender. According to the Narada Muni says, Yo Vidvansa Gurur Hari. Such a great soul is to be considered the external manifestation of the Krishna himself. Krishna states also, right? Acharyam ma vijnaniyam navamana manyete karshit na mrityu buddheshuyete sarvadevamayo guru. One should know the Acharya to be myself and never disrespect him anyway. One should not envy him, thinking him in thinking him an ordinary man, for he is the representative of all the demigods. Same Krishna says in 11th canto. So he says that when there is no spiritual master existing in this material world, he personally comes as a spiritual master and delivers the fallen souls as a guru. So that's what he says, Bhagavad Gita also, second chapter, 61st verse, he says, Matpara. That's the most significant. This connection is how one can become Matpara is described in the like life of Maharaj Ambarish also, right? A great scholar like Acharya Baladev Vidyabhushan also, he remarks that matpara mat bhakti prabhavena sarvendriya vijaya purvikas swatam disti sulabheti bhavaha. The senses can be completely controlled only by the strength of devotional service to Krishna. Also, the example, like we see that fire is example. Fire is sometimes given as a blazing fire burns everything within the room. Like Lord Vishnu situated in that heat of the yogi burns up all kinds of impurities. The Yogi Sutra also prescribes meditation on Vishnu and not meditation on the void. The so-called yogis who meditates on something other than the Vishnu form simply waste their time in a vain search of, like after something. Prabhupada used one wonderful word, Pantasmagoria. So one should have a faith. We should do faithful devotional service to Krishna. I'll just end up just little one or two, like while Prabhupada was giving, so his disciples asked him some questions. They asked, blind faith is the belief that, and Prabhupada says that blind faith that I have already, he says that, why do you forget? He shows me. Prabhupada, he says that sometimes actually blind faith that I have already explained, why do you forget? Prabhupada come this way, So I have no faith, why shall I go? I have no faith, then I have to stop there. Stop here. That's what Prabhupada says. And my movement is finished. Prabhupada said, my movement is finished. You have to faith blindly. The man is giving direction. If he is perfect, your faith will make you advance. But if you go to a rascal and cheater, if you have a blind faith, then you are lost. That's what. So again, he says that one more, so knowledge is not necessary, okay, for faith. But faith is necessary for knowledge and disciples also. Then Prabhupada says, yes, therefore, a devotee without any knowledge, he becomes a devotee. The faith, only faith, the devotee advances. Later on, they become automatically full of knowledge because they have strong faith. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grandamara Srimad Bhagavad-gītā ki and Bhagavatam ki jai. Vancha kalpaturviyasya kripa sindhubhye vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnav vrinda ki. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Any comments, suggestions, please? Ananda Prabhu, Anandru Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Devotees, can we chant one time for Prabhu for giving this class? Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna,
Pranam
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Srivatsa
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna to
Jai
all
Dandavat Pranam
devotees.
Prabhu.
Hare
Sorry?
Krishna ji.
How are you doing?
I'm good, better.
Jai.
I'm better, Prabhu.
Beta,
Yeah, he's doing good, Prabhu, really. So we are traveling soon.
they are traveling soon, Haribol.
Yeah, we are going to world tour.
Yeah, I heard so, like this. You're London and this. Yeah, I heard on.
How's Guru Maharaj?
Traveling, going to world tour.
Yeah, I know, Kedam. June is leaving. June is leaving, huh?
So we are leaving maybe in the 3rd week of May.
So you are also in trip?
Yes, this time.
So you have passport? No, sorry, visa.
I have American visa for 10 years.
Oh, acha.
Since I was from UK, so yesterday I went for
Okay, okay.
UK visa.
You are from UK, you are.
Yes, Prabhu.
Oh, so that means you are easy for to you get kenam apne American.
Yeah, I'll get easily wherever I apply.
Yeah. So you have UK passport?
Not passport, Indian passport. I don't like UK passport. Sorry.
No, that's okay. But how then it is easier for you to get when you are not citizen of UK then? UK passport?
No. What happened, Prabhu?
Ah.
I have Indian passport only, but I studied because of that. So wherever I apply, I get easily visas.
Okay.